During the late 1800s, huge groups of Japanese people began to immigrate to Seattle because Chinese were prevented from immigrating. This was due to a federal law prohibiting the immigration of Chinese workers, which was passed in 1882 by President Chester Arthur. After the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, people began to fear that the immigrants living in Seattle were spies and were responsible for the attack. The Japanese living in Seattle were forced to leave their homes and enter into concentration camps across the U.S. This event was traumatic for the Japanese, who lost their jobs, friends, and sometimes their lives because of the internment. I interviewed Georgia, who read Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, a novel based on Japanese internment. How educated are you on the subject of Japanese internment?
I would say I'm moderately educated on that subject. I know an overview about what it is and how it affected people, but I don't know a bunch of specific facts or figures or anything.
How did reading Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet educate or influence you?
I would say that it was a very educational book. I learned a lot more than I did before I read it about the subject of Japanese internment, especially just why it was happening and where they sent people and the kind of prejudice against Japanese American people at that time.
Do you feel that minorities today are still targeted because of prejudice?
Yeah, of course I still think that there's a lot of prejudice in America and for that matter everywhere else in the world. I feel like it's gotten a lot better since, the 50s and the 60s. Obviously, we have, I would say, matured as a society, but I feel like there's still a lot of work to do.
Has this affected you in any way?
It hasn't affected me personally, but I've definitely seen prejudice or racism on the internet. I feel like Portland's a very accepting city, so I don't see a lot of that in Portland, but obviously I know it exists in the world.
Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet is written by Jamie Ford, a man born in the late 1960s who grew up in Seattle. Ford's great-grandfather immigrated to Nevada from China in 1865. Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet is a historical fiction novel that was published in 2009. Not only has this novel won numerous awards, including the Asian Pacific American Award for Literature, but it has been discussed and read across the United States. I highly recommend the book because it is beautifully written, educational, and intriguing all at the same time. Jamie Ford is truly a gifted author.